Mum, Derek's voice was broken, desperate. Mum, please, I need help. I'm so sorry, please, something terrible happened. I sat on the edge of the bed I'd bought last Saturday at IKEA, the only furniture now in my bedroom. My fingers gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. Outside the window, Cleveland was waking up, sunlight hit Lake Erie, and I could hear the distant rumble of traffic on I-90. Derek, I said. My voice came out colder than I intended. Or maybe exactly as cold as I intended. Mum, I know you're angry. I know I messed up, but please, messed up. I stood from the bed. You stole everything I had. Everything. You walked into my home while I was away and took 22 years of my life. I know, Mum, and I'm so sorry, I swear. What happened? I cut him off. I didn't want to hear apologies. Not yet. There was silence. I heard him breathing heavily on the other end. When he finally spoke, his voice was a whisper. I crashed the car you gave me when I graduated. I was driving to Austin and there was this storm and I flipped it outside Oklahoma City. The car's totaled and I broke my arm, some ribs. I'm in the hospital. I closed my eyes. Part of me, the mother part, the part that had held him through chicken pox at 6, that had gripped his hand when he got his wisdom teeth out, wanted to scream, "Which hospital? I'm coming right now." But another part, the part that had spent the last week sleeping on an air mattress on my empty living room floor, that part was stone. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Physically? I'll survive." "But Mum, the doctor said I need surgery on my arm. It's $15,000 and I don't have insurance yet because the new job doesn't start for 2 weeks. And you want me to pay for it." "I don't have anyone else. Please, Mum, I learnt my lesson, I swear." Learnt, my voice was shaking now. "What did you learn, Derek? That stealing from your mother has consequences, that actions have consequences. I'll give everything back. I promise your things are still in Austin. They're in a storage unit. I paid 3 months up front before I left Cleveland." I sat back down on the bed. My shift at the hospital started in 2 hours. I should have been getting ready, making coffee, living my life. Instead, I was here, listening to my son who betrayed me in the worst way possible, begged me for help. "Which hospital?" I asked. "OU Health in Oklahoma City." "But Mum, about the surgery." "I'm not paying for it," I said quietly. The silence that followed was deafening. "What? You heard me. I'm not paying for your surgery." "But Mum, I can't. I don't have the money. I can't work with my arm like this. I'll lose the job in Austin before it even starts." "Then I guess you'll have to figure it out." My hand was trembling. Every word felt like swallowing glass. The same way I had to figure out how to replace everything you took from me. "Mom, please, you're 22 years old, Derek. You're a college graduate. You made adult decisions, stealing from me, moving to Texas, starting a new life. Now you get to make adult decisions about how to handle this. I can't believe you're doing this to me." Something sharp twisted in my chest. "I can't believe you're saying that to me after what you did." I heard him crying now, not the manipulative kind, real gut-wrenching sobs, the same way he cried when his father left when he was 4, when his goldfish died when he was 7, when he didn't make the basketball team in 9th grade. "I have to go," I said. "I have work." "Mum, wait." I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the phone on the bed. I walked to the bathroom, still empty. I hadn't even bought a bath mat yet, and stared at myself in the mirror. Melissa Harper, 51 years old, RN at University Hospitals, Cleveland Medical Center for 23 years. Single mother, exhausted, betrayed, and now refusing to help her only child when he was hurt and scared and alone. I looked like hell, dark circles under my eyes, hair that needed washing, the same scrubs I'd worn yesterday because half my clothes were still in garbage bags in the corner. I called in sick to work, first time in 3 years. Then I called Mr. Patterson. "Mrs. Harper, he answered on the second ring. Have you made a decision? He called me this morning. He's in the hospital in Oklahoma, car accident, wants me to pay for surgery. Patterson was quiet for a moment. And I said, no, good. Is it good? I walked back to my bedroom, stared at the empty space where my dresser used to be. He's my son, he's hurt. He's also an adult who committed theft. Melissa, may I call you Melissa? I've been practicing law for 32 years. I've seen this pattern 100 times. Adult children who take advantage of their parents then come running back the moment they face consequences. If you bail him out now, you're teaching him that no matter what he does, Mum will fix it. But what if something happens to him? What if the arm doesn't heal right? What if he'll figure it out? Or he's at a hospital, they can't refuse emergency treatment. He'll work out a payment plan, or he'll apply for financial assistance, or he'll sell my furniture. I finished quietly. Exactly. I thanked Mr. Patterson and hung up. The apartment felt suffocating. I grabbed my purse and keys and walked outside into the November cold. Cleveland in November is grey and bitter, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. I walked without thinking, ended up at the Giant Eagle on Euclid Avenue, bought eggs and bread and coffee, and stood in the checkout line behind a young mother with a toddler in her cart. The little boy was maybe 3, clutching a stuffed dinosaur. He looked up at his mother with complete trust, complete love. The mother smiled at him tiredly, the kind of tired I recognized in my own reflection. I paid for my groceries and walked home. Derek called again that afternoon. I didn't answer. He called again at dinner time. I didn't answer. He texted, please, I'm scared. I stared at those 3 words for 20 minutes. Then I texted back, you should be. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay on my air mattress in the dark, listening to the sounds of the building, pipes groaning, neighbours moving around upstairs, the hum of the refrigerator in my empty kitchen. I thought about Derek alone in a hospital bed in Oklahoma, his arm in a cast, probably scared out of his mind. Good. Part of me thought, let him be scared. But the mother part, the part that had rocked him to sleep as a baby, that had taught him to ride a bike, that had hugged him so tight when he got his acceptance letter to Ohio State, that part was screaming. I picked up my phone, opened our text conversation, started typing, I'm coming to get you. I stared at those 4 words. Then I deleted them. Instead I wrote, the hospital will work out a payment plan with you. You're smart, you'll figure it out. I hit send before I could change my mind. His response came immediately, I hate you. I turned off my phone. Wednesday morning, my sister Janet called. I heard about Derek, she said. She still lived in Pittsburgh, worked as a teacher, had 3 kids of her own. Are you okay? How did you hear? He called me, asked if I would lend him money for the surgery. My stomach dropped. What did you say? I said I'd have to talk to you first. Melissa, what's going on? He said you're refusing to help him. I told her everything. The empty apartment, the police report, Mr. Patterson's advice, the phone call, the hospital, my refusal. Janet was quiet for a long time. You're doing the right thing, she finally said. Am I? Yes, I know it doesn't feel like it, but yes, she paused. You know what Mum used to say, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone fall. Derek needs to fall right now. He needs to understand that the world doesn't revolve around him, that his actions hurt people, that he can't just charm his way out of consequences. But what if he doesn't learn? What if he just hates me forever? Then that's his choice. But you can't set yourself on fire to keep him warm, Melissa. You've done that his whole life. After we hung up, I sat in my empty living room and cried. Really cried, for the first time since finding the apartment stripped. Not angry tears or frustrated tears, but deep, soul-crushing grief. Grief for the relationship I thought I had with my son. Grief for the trust that was broken. Grief for the mother I used to be, the one who would have already been on a plane to Oklahoma, Thursday afternoon, Derek called from a different number. I answered without thinking, Mum. His voice was different, quieter, less desperate. They're discharging me tomorrow. I worked out a payment plan with the hospital, $200 a month for the next 6 years. I can manage that once the Austin job starts. That's good, I said carefully. I called the guy at the storage unit in Austin, asked him to hold my stuff for another month while I figure out how to get there with my arm like this. He said, okay, silence. Mum, about what I did, and I know saying sorry doesn't fix anything, but I am sorry. I mean, I was angry about, I don't know what I was angry about. You giving me advice about the job, maybe, treating me like a kid when I wanted to feel like an adult. And I thought if I just took everything and left, I'd feel free or independent or something. But I just feel his voice cracks. I just feel empty. I closed my eyes. Derek, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking for money. I just wanted you to know that I get it now. I get what I did. The question came out harsher than I meant. I'm trying to. I really am. We talked for 10 more minutes. He told me about the accident, the rain, the hydroplaning, the moment the car started to flip and he thought he might die. He told me about the hospital, the young resident who set his arm, the elderly woman in the next room who reminded him of my mother. He told me he'd called his old boss at the Starbucks near campus, asked if there were any locations in Oklahoma City hiring. When we hung up, I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginning of a crack in the wall I'd built. Friday evening, Mr. Patterson called me. I've been thinking about your case. If you want to pursue charges or a civil suit, we should move forward soon. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. I know, have you made a decision? I looked around my apartment, still mostly empty, still echoing, but I'd bought a small couch from a thrift store on Wednesday, a lamp, some dishes. It was starting to feel less like a crime scene and more like a new beginning. Not yet, I told him, but I will soon. That weekend, Derek sent me a photo, him in a Greyhound bus station, arm in a sling, sitting next to his duffel bag. The text read, heading to Austin, bus ticket was cheaper than I thought. New job starts Monday, wish me luck. I stared at that photo for a long time. My son, looking smaller than I'd seen him since he was a teenager, vulnerable, scared, but also determined. I wrote back, good luck. 3 days later, he sent another text. First day done. It's hard with one arm, but I'm managing. They're letting me start remotely for a few weeks until I can drive again. That's good, I replied. The text continued. Small updates, nothing demanding, nothing manipulative, just check-ins like he was trying to prove something to me or to himself. I wasn't sure. 2 weeks after the accident, on a Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. Derek's name. Hi, I answered. Hi, Mum. I did something. I wanted to tell you before you saw it on your credit card or whatever. My heart sank. What did you do? I sold the couch and the TV and the dining table through Facebook Marketplace. I got $2,800. It's not everything, but it's a start. I'm sending you a check tomorrow. I'll send more as soon as I can sell the rest. I sat down slowly on my thrift store couch. You sold them? Yeah. I mean, they were yours. I shouldn't have taken them. I was sitting in my apartment last night looking at your stuff and I couldn't anymore. It felt wrong. It felt like I was living in a museum of my own selfishness. Something in my chest loosened, just a little. Thank you, I whispered. It's not enough. I know it's not enough, but I'm going to make this right, Mum. However long it takes. We talked for an hour that night. Really talked for the first time in years about his job, about my work at the hospital, about his father, a subject we usually avoided, about the mistakes we'd both made, about trust and betrayal, and whether broken things could ever really be fixed. When we hung up, I realised I was smiling, just slightly, just enough. The cheque arrived on Thursday. $2,800 made out in Derek's messy handwriting. I deposited it and used it to buy a new bed frame, a bookshelf, some artwork for the walls. That night I called him. The cheque cleared, I said. Good, that's good. Derek, I want you to know that I'm proud of you for taking responsibility, for trying to make this right. I heard his breath catch. Really, really, it doesn't fix everything. It doesn't erase what you did, but it's a start. I'm going to keep going, Mum. I promise. I know you will. We hung up and I stood in my apartment, still not full, still not the same as before, but mine again in a new way. I thought about Mr. Patterson's question. Did I want to press charges? Did I want to sue? I picked up my phone and dialed his number. I'm not pressing charges, I told Mr. Patterson, and I'm not suing him. There was a pause on the other end. Are you sure about this, Melissa? Yes. I looked around my apartment, the thrift store couch, the IKEA bookshelf, the framed print of the Cleveland skyline I'd bought at Target. He's making it right, slowly, but he is, and I think that matters more than punishing him. All right, I'll close the file, but if you change your mind, I won't. Thank you, Mr. Patterson, for everything. After I hung up, I felt lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying a stone in my chest and finally set it down. Over the next month, Derek sent 3 more checks, smaller amounts, $400, $600, $550, but consistent. Each one came with a short note. Sold the coffee table, sold your lamps and the kitchen stuff, sold the TV stand and some other things. By early December, my apartment was furnished again, not with my old things, those were gone, sold to strangers in Austin, but with new things that I'd chosen myself, a navy blue couch instead of the beige one, a modern glass coffee table instead of the old wooden one. It felt different, it felt like mine. Derek and I talked every Sunday, sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for an hour. He told me about his job, software development for a healthcare startup, and about Austin, about the breakfast tacos he'd discovered, about his tiny apartment in a complex near the highway. He never once asked me for money, never once made excuses for what he'd done. How's your arm? I asked one Sunday in mid-December. Better, got the cast off last week, physical therapy 3 times a week. I can type again, which makes work way easier. That's good, Mum. I've been thinking about Christmas. My chest tightened. Yeah, I can't afford to fly home. The PT appointments and the hospital payments are eating everything. But I wanted to ask if maybe you'd want to do a video call on Christmas Day. I know it's not the same as being there, but I'd like that, I said quietly. I'd really like that. Christmas morning, I woke up in my apartment to snow falling outside. Real Cleveland snow, the kind that covers everything in white silence. I made coffee in my new coffee maker, sat on my new couch and opened my laptop. Derek's face appeared on the screen at exactly 9 a.m. He was wearing the Ohio State sweatshirt I'd bought him sophomore year. Behind him I could see his sparse apartment, a futon, a small desk, not much else. Merry Christmas, Mum. Merry Christmas, baby. We talked for 2 hours. He showed me the miniature Christmas tree he'd bought at Walmart for $12. I showed him the turkey I was roasting for dinner. Way too much food for one person, but Janet and her family were driving up from Pittsburgh. I got you something, Derek said suddenly. He held up a small wrapped box. I can't mail it because, well, money, but I wanted you to see it. He unwrapped it on camera. Inside was a simple silver bracelet with a single charm, a small house. I know it's not expensive or anything, he said, his voice thick. But I saw it and thought, I thought about how I took your home away from you, all your stuff, all your memories, and I can't give that back, not really, but I wanted you to have something that represented, I don't know, home, family, Us. I was crying. Derek, it's beautiful. I'm mailing it tomorrow. I promise I have something for you too, I said. I held up an envelope. I'm sending it today. His eyes widened. Mum, you didn't have to open it when it arrives, okay? We talked until my sister's car pulled up outside. Before we hung up, Derek said, Mum, I love you and I'm so sorry for everything. I love you too, I whispered, and I'm learning to forgive you. It takes time, but I'm getting there. The bracelet arrived 3 days later. I put it on immediately and haven't taken it off since. Derek called the day after New Year's. I got your card, he said. His voice sounded strange. Choked up. Inside the card, I put a check for $5,000 and a note for your hospital payments. You don't have to do this alone. Love, Mum. Mum, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. You've been paying me back, working hard, taking responsibility. I see that, and I'm proud of you, but you're still my son, and I can help you without letting you take advantage of me. There's a difference. He was crying. I don't deserve this. Maybe not, but I'm giving it to you anyway. That's what love is, Derek. It's not about deserving. I'm going to pay you back. Every cent. I swear. I know you will. But there's no rush. Just keep being the person you're becoming. That's enough. In February, Derek called with news. They're promoting me. My manager said I'm one of the hardest workers on the team, even with the arms stuff. I'm getting a 15% raise. Derek, that's wonderful. I'm putting half of it toward paying you back. The furniture money, the Christmas money, all of it. You don't have to. I want to. Please, Mum, let me do this. By March, we had settled into a rhythm. Sunday calls, occasional texts during the week, monthly checks arriving in the mail. My apartment was fully furnished. Derek's arm had healed completely. The storage unit in Austin was empty, everything sold or donated. I'm thinking about coming home for Easter weekend, Derek said in early April. If that's okay with you, my heart skipped. Really? Yeah, I can afford the plane ticket now, and I want to see you in person. I want to sit in your apartment and apologise face to face, not through a screen. I'd like that too. He arrived on Good Friday, stepping off the plane at Hopkins International with a backpack and nervous eyes. I met him at baggage claim, and for a moment we just stood there staring at each other. Then he dropped the backpack and hugged me, really hugged me the way he used to when he was little and I'd pick him up from school. I'm so sorry, Mum, he whispered into my shoulder. I'm so sorry. I know, I said, holding him tight. I know you are. We drove back to my apartment and he walked through it slowly, taking in all the new furniture, the new decorations, the new life I'd built. It's nice, he said quietly. Different, but nice. I like it, I said. It's mine, really mine. That night we ordered pizza from my favourite place on Coventry and sat on my new couch, talking until midnight. He told me about therapy he'd started in Austin, about the things he was learning about himself, about entitlement and selfishness, and the ways he'd hurt me without even realising it. I thought I was entitled to everything you had because you were my mum, he said. Like you owed me, but you didn't owe me anything. You gave me everything out of love, and I treated it like it was nothing. You were young, I said. You made a mistake. A huge mistake, a terrible mistake. He looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Do you think you'll ever really forgive me? Like completely? I thought about that, about the empty apartment, the nights crying on the air mattress, the phone call from the hospital, the decision to let him struggle, about the checks in the mail, the Sunday calls, the bracelet on my wrist. I think I already have, I said softly, not all at once, not in one moment, but piece by piece, day by day. Yes, I've forgiven you, he cried then, and I held him the way I did when he was small and the world felt too big and scary. On Easter Sunday, we went to church together at St. Malachi's, the same church where I'd taken him as a child. Afterward, we had brunch at a diner on Detroit Avenue, and Derek pulled an envelope from his jacket. "What's this?" I asked. "Open it." Inside was a check for $12,000. I stared at it. "Derek, this is everything I took from you, everything I sold, plus a little extra for interest. I've been saving every spare dollar since Christmas." He reached across the table and took my hand. "I can't give you back the actual furniture, the actual memories, but I can give you this, and I can promise you that I will never, ever betray your trust again." I looked at my son, 23 now, with shadows under his eyes from working overtime, with calluses on his hands from rebuilding his life, with something in his face that looked like wisdom. "I'm proud of you," I said, "so proud." We deposited the check together that afternoon. Then I took half of it and opened a savings account in both our names. "What's this for?" Derek asked. "For your future, maybe a down payment on a house someday, maybe an emergency fund, maybe nothing, but it's ours, together, because we're family, and family helps each other the right way." He hugged me in the bank parking lot, and I realized that the weight I'd been carrying for months, the anger, the betrayal, the grief, was finally completely gone. Derek flew back to Austin on Monday morning. At the airport, he hugged me one more time. "I'll see you this summer," he said. "I'm taking a week off in July. Maybe we can drive somewhere. Nashville? Or just around Ohio? I'd love that. I love you, Mum. I love you too, baby." I watched him walk through security, watched him turn and wave one last time, watched him disappear into the crowd of travellers. Then I drove home to my apartment, to my new couch and my new life, and I realised something. I wasn't the same person who'd walked into that empty apartment last November. I was stronger, clearer, more sure of my own worth. Derek had taken everything from me, and in doing so he'd forced me to rebuild not just my home but myself. And maybe, just maybe, that was the gift hidden inside the theft, the lesson wrapped inside the betrayal. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're really made of. And sometimes the person who hurts you the most can become the person who teaches you the most about forgiveness, about strength, about the complicated, painful, beautiful work of loving someone who's let you down. I put my key in the lock and opened the door to my home. It was exactly where I belonged.